Again, thanks for joining us tonight. I also have Mr. Tim Sands. He's our college liaison who works for Forsyth Tech. He'll be sharing some information with you as well. Ms. Hauser, of course, the middle school counselor there at Chestnut Grove now. She's on tonight with us, and she and Miss Holland. If you have questions after tonight, of course, you can reach out to us or reach out to them. Again, students, this is the same presentation you saw today, but like I said earlier today when we met, or yesterday when we met, whichever day you joined, tonight we can go a little bit slower pace, provide more details, and specifically the application I want to go into detail about. A lot of you have already applied, which was great to see. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started. There is a video, a lot of videos on our website, so I'm not going to go to this today. Share a little bit about what our campus looks like. I don't know if you've ever been to the Meadows community of Stokes County, which is Walnut Cove. That's pretty much where Highway 89, Highway 8, Dodgetown Road, that intersection there by the Dollar General. Well, if you continue on Dodgetown Road, go past the old prison, go by the new animal, it's not the animal shelter, but it's the better place than an animal shelter. And then we're located just beyond that on Dodgetown Road. So you can see the cursor moving there if you're looking. That's Dodgetown Road. And this is our campus, the Stokes Center. The early college is a partnership with the Stokes County government, who had a vision about 11 or 12 years ago that they wanted to see a college campus in Stokes County. Well, Forsyth Technical Community College is our partner. We are there. Stokes County is part of their region. And Mr. Sands just typed in the chat. If you have any questions, feel free to type in the chat, and he or I will respond depending on who's talking at the time. So anyway, so they had that vision. So the Stokes County commissioners voted to help by building this area in the center of the counties, which is probably about 15 miles from King, about 8, 9, 10 miles from Walnut Cove, about 8, 9, 10 miles from North Stokes area. So pretty much the center of the county. So we are a partnership, again, with Stokes County government, Stokes County schools, and Forsyth Technical Community College. So when you come into the campus, as you turn in, go through that gate, you'll see on the right, you'll see this big Forsyth Technical Community College building. That is where most of the college classes are taken. In fact, all of the college classes, academic college classes, are taken. In that building, there is 2 computer labs. There are nursing clinical labs. There are 3 science labs, and then several just generic classrooms. That's in that building. And then on our website, I'll show you a little bit later, we have a virtual tour of our campus. As you drive down, you'll see the parking lot for, college students that are coming off, from off campus, that kind of thing. And they park, there. This building on the top right of the picture is the trades building. That's the newest building on campus. That was built within the last 2 years. And it houses classrooms for welding, electrical trades, plumbing, and horticulture. And they're actually just now finally being able to get some classes in there in the evenings. So Mr. Sands may talk more about that. As you're going down the hill, or in the top left of the picture, you see these 2 buildings here. Those are the high school buildings. And this one on the left, between the parking lots, that was the first building that I worked in when I first went there. And there is a track. We call it a track, but it is a quarter-mile loop around the building that PE classes use, students use, that kind of thing. Each building has 4 classrooms. We have 8 teachers. So each building has at least 4 high school classrooms in each building. They're in the A building over here on the left, houses the office. It also has a small library that we have, a computer lab in that building. And then B building up here in the top center, we have, again, 4 high school classrooms, another computer lab. We have a cafeteria, a small cafeteria. We don't have a kitchen, and I'll talk about meals in a little bit, but that's in that building. Down here in this lower parking lot, this is staff parking lot. Up here is the student driver parking lot. Over here we have basketball. You probably can't see it very well in the picture, but we have basketball goals. There's a volleyball area. A lot of times during lunches, students on a typical year, play sports and that kind of thing during lunch breaks. So that's a little bit about our campus. So who are we? Again, I already told you that we're a partnership with Stokes County Schools and Forsyth Tech, but it is an opportunity for students to attend college at the same time as they attend high school. And that makes them dual enrolled students, which means they are concurrently enrolled as a Stokes County student and a Forsyth Tech Community College student. We are our own school, just like North, just like South, just like West. We are our own school, but we're a smaller school, and we just have this opportunity for for students in Stokes County. And we have students come from all parts of the county. Now, it's not an easy program. It is a rigorous academic program. But, as I've told a lot of students, I don't think I've told these students, but if you've done well this year in COVID in 8th grade with remote learning and all that crazy stuff, if you've done pretty well during that time, you should do well with us. But it is, a rigorous program, and we'll talk about and show you some sample what their schedules could look like, and that kind of thing. But the biggest thing, if you choose to come to our school, you could earn up to a 2-year degree, an associate's degree, in 4 years. You can condense everything and work hard and get it done in 4 years. Or if you want to spread it out a little bit, you can complete the degree in 5 years. And we'll talk about the difference in that. But it's little to no cost. Pretty much all we charge is a $52.50 per year instructional fee that helps supplement our costs. We pay for the books, we pay for the labs, we pay for any fees. Forsyth Tech goes in and waives certain fees and certain tuitions and that kind of thing. And again, essentially no cost to you, just that instructional fee just helps supplement that a little bit. So in a course of 4 years, you're paying a little over $200, where in one semester, sometimes we pay $200+ for one student, especially in the junior and senior year. So, we'll talk about dollar amounts a little bit later. Now, you can take college classes at North, at South, and at West. But if you do that, you have to pay out of pocket those fees and the books and that kind of thing. So that's one little bit different. And of course, you have more opportunity to take more classes through us than possibly at West. Now, you can work harder and take summer classes and things like that through like a West Stokes, but again, that's going to be out-of-pocket expense. All right, so who are we looking for? We're looking for any student that would be interested in coming to our school. The students that do well are students who are committed and independent, that can speak up for themselves, ask for help. The biggest thing, the word that I didn't really put on here is effort. You have to want to be here, and you want to put forth the effort. And that's the biggest thing. We want you, or you would want to be here. You need to want to be here. Candidates or applicants that have not been successful in the past, or those who maybe the parents are kind of pushing them to come to our school, they may, they may not necessarily want to be coming to our school, but the parents kind of pushed it. Sometimes that it hasn't worked out very well, but sometimes it has. But we really want students to be here, that want to be here, and that are willing to put forth the effort. In the video on our website, and I'll show you that a little bit later, I kind of talk about that more and give an example of setting goals and that kind of thing. So I won't repeat that here. Again, understanding that this is a difficult program, it's a rigorous program. But again, if you've done well in COVID in 8th grade, you should do well with us, I would think. Again, would benefit from a smaller atmosphere. We're a small school. We only have, 100. Right now, we have 165 students. We accept around 50 per year, depending on the number we have overall. So around 50 per year is what we try to accept. Again, anyone is willing to is interested in applying to come. We're looking at anyone, but we're specifically looking for maybe first-generation college students or families whose students may be economically disadvantaged or maybe even at risk of dropping out, where at a school with a small setting and that kind of thing might be able to help them make it through high school. And why us? Why us? Why us instead of West Oaks? Well, again, tuition-free college and an associate's degree. Yes, there have been one or two here and there to graduate from West with an associate's degree, but that's tough and that's difficult. And most of the time, students at West cannot take college classes until the junior year. So with us, you start taking those classes in the 9th grade. Individualized support and personalized 4-year college application process. Every semester, Mr. Sands and Dr. Cox Franklin, our counselor, who wasn't able to be here tonight, they meet with students individually and they say, hey, what's your goals? What do you plan to do after high school? In the past, our focus has been 4-year college transfer degree, and we're kind of changing our philosophy with that this for the next few years, because not everyone is 4-year college material, and we'll talk about how we're changing that philosophy a little bit. Again, small class size, we already talked about that. Our class size anywhere from 15 to 20, mostly less than 20, but definitely teachers get to know their students because of that small class size. I've got to know students this year that are coming on campus that I've already know their name. I know a lot about them. Unfortunately, those that are choosing to stay home, I don't know that much about, but those that are on campus, I do get to know. When in a typical year, Forsyth Tech provides tutors for students for their college classes. So, students can take advantage of that if they need help in their college classes. Of course, we, like other schools, we take trips and those kinds of things, but we do frequent college visits, frequent visits out of state on a typical year, and those kinds of things. And a lot of students from our school earn scholarships and money to help continue their education if that's what they choose to do. We'll talk about some figures in a little bit. So what can you expect from our school? The Stokes County Schools motto is students first, and we represent that as well. Our teachers enjoy their job. They enjoy being at our school. Very little bit of teacher turnover at our school. Lots of hands-on activities, acting out activities. I go into social studies classes, they're doing mock trials. I'll go into science classes, they're doing labs. Environmental science, they're walking down to the creek and observing the nature down at the creek. Math classes, hands-on kind of activities. So that's what you can expect in the learning environment. College instructors bending over backwards to help our students. Yes, there are adult students that come to our campus to take classes too, but the majority of the enrollment of the college classes, I would say, are our students. And most of those classes on a typical year are in-person, face-to-face classes. Now, students can have the opportunity to take online classes later on, but we try to get most of our classes face-to-face, and Mr. Sands may can talk about that. Family. I don't have students talking tonight, but I'll talk about an opportunity where you can meet students in a couple of weeks. But we had a couple of students to talk yesterday and today. And, the theme that they didn't really use these words, but the theme that I get from all of the students that have spoken is that, our school is like a family, and our students are very tolerant, and they're very accepting, and they're very, very welcoming. I have, in my year here, of course, we don't have a lot on campus, but very little do I ever see any kind of issues between students. So they are welcoming of one another, is what I have noticed, and this is what faculty have been there for years have said, and very tolerant of each other. And no matter what grade they're in, they're mingling and interacting. Ninth grade, 10th grade, 13th grade. That's that 5th year super senior option, and we'll talk about that. Clubs, yeah, we have lots of clubs on campus. If we don't have a club, students can create a club. We have honor society. We have help me out, Mr. Sands. What's that club you have typically? Film club?
No, mine is performing arts.
Performing arts. Okay, I knew it was something like that.
Yeah.
But all kinds of clubs and activities. Intramural sports. Our students compete against other early colleges. We're not the only early college in the area. There's one in Surrey County, one in Rockingham, Yadkin County. There's one in Forsyth. There's 2 or 3 in Guilford County. But we, in a typical year, we have competitions with other early colleges that can conclude some sports activities and those kinds of things that students can participate in. So again, that's what some things they can expect. What kind of sports are offered? Are you talking about at our school or for you to participate competition-wise?
At the school.
At the school?
Yeah.
We do not have an athletic team at our school, but I will talk about in a little bit how you can still participate in sports at your home school if you choose to do so. Is that kind of where you're going with that?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yes. All right, I'm going to hush a little bit, let Mr. Sands take over here and talk about the college side of things.
Good evening, everybody. And again, my name is Tim Sands. I am the liaison. So I work for Forsyth Tech, and my job is kind of help students learn how to advocate for themselves, help them learn about everything Forsyth Tech, technology-wise and college course-wise, and just do that. Just go in between the students and instructors sometimes between Stokes County and Forsyth Tech itself. 9th and 10th grade years, no matter what program your student may be interested in, we're basically going to put everybody in the first bullet point that you see here. Everybody's going to start out an associate in arts. And the reason for that is we have to put them in something, and it really doesn't matter until we get to the junior year how we would switch that around. So everybody's going to start in associate in arts because, again, they're going to be taking all the same courses. That would probably be a PED course, physical education. They do 2 of those courses, and that counts for their high school PE and their health course as well, but they're getting college credit at the same time. Maybe a history course, maybe an English course, an art appreciation course, something that's going to be a transferable course no matter what institution they go to once they leave us. So if you're interested if you look at the bottom line of that particular bullet, history, art, music, languages, education, psychology, sociology, those would be the things. If you decide that's what you want to do, then you're going to stay in associate in arts. If you look at the bottom line of the next bullet, associate in science degree, if you're interested more in STEM type careers or majors, science, technology, engineering, math, health sciences, chemistry, biology, you're probably going to switch to associate in science. And basically that means you're probably going to end up doing 1 more science course and 2 more math courses than you would have if you would have stayed in the associate in arts. Colleges, when you leave us and you go to one of the UNC system schools and all your credits transfer, they really it's not that important to them which one you were in. It's really about your preparation for what you want to do once you get to them. So again, I'm going to be talking about hours quite a bit here coming up in the next few slides. So just keep what I'm getting ready to say in mind is that it's a 60-hour program, whether you do associate in arts or associate in science, and that roughly translates to 20 courses. So 20 times 3, they're 3-hour courses each. That equals 60 hours. So after about 23-hour courses, you are going to have your associate in science or your associate in arts degree. So that's what most students who are going to do if they choose to stay college prep and they want all their college courses to transfer to, again, UNC Charlotte, UNC Wilmington, Appalachian, NC State, Carolina, any of the 16 UNC school systems. All right, Mr. Durham, if you'll get the next slide. This is kind of what Mr. Durham was talking about with some an eye towards doing things a little bit different. We have an associate in applied science degree in lots of areas. You can see right here again, if you look at the bottom, business, criminal justice, transportation systems. That would also apply to cybersecurity, would also apply to social work. So if you're interested in something outside of, or you have a direction that you want to go, we can explore that. Now, obviously, we can't offer every single course that Forsyth Tech offers here on our campus. So like you see there kind of in the middle of this bullet, if you wanted to take some of those courses, you may have to provide your own transportation during your junior and senior year. If you needed to go to Northwest Forsyth Center in King to take a course, if you needed to go to main campus or the transportation center, it's something they offer that we can't offer here. So again, and again, you can get a lot of those online as well. So you can get your entire degree here on our campus and maybe taking a few online courses. If you choose to go to the Associate in Applied Science degree, and again, that could be for welding, it could be for electrical systems. Obviously, you may have to go to a different campus to take some coursework there. All right, and then our next slide. This was going to be talking about just college credits. And Mr. Durham may have had to step away for just a second, but when he clicks to that one, the main objective is to make sure that we get you guys a high school diploma. That's goal number one. And so we want to make sure that whether you are looking at a trade or you're looking at going into a major in a four-year institution, that the high school diploma is first. But as you can see right here, again, if you're looking in the middle, what if you choose to do welding, plumbing, heating and air? And you end up with a certificate or diploma, maybe an 18-hour certificate, maybe a 30-hour diploma that's going to have you work ready the minute you walk out the door in electrical, in horticulture, in cybersecurity. Those are all options to you too. So if you end up not having 60 hours for an associate's degree, but you ended up with 30, and then 5 years from now you decide, well, you know what, I think I am going to go back to college. That means you've got a year's worth of college under your belt, even though you didn't get your associate's degree. Anything that you get beyond that high school diploma, whether it's a certificate or diploma program described in this bullet, whether it's extra courses that will transfer to a UNC system school, that's going to be a benefit to you immediately and in ways that you can't see necessarily moving forward. Again, similar to what we talked about a while ago, you might have to go to a different campus to take some of those courses. As Mr. Durham said, it is rigorous. We do expect you to step up your game, as we're saying. You can see that as a ninth grader, right off the bat, you're a Forsyth Tech student. You are a college student the minute you begin your first semester with us, and your college instructors are going to treat you as a college student. So you can see 7 to 9 semester hours. That freshman year is usually 4 courses. You're going to take 2 college courses your fall and 2 college courses your spring, and those freshman courses usually equal out to about 8 or 9 hours. Then once you get into your sophomore year, we're going to need to start getting you moving towards what they call the gateway courses that open up your ability to take higher level college courses. And you can see that for us to put you into English 111, you have to have a college GPA of 2.8 or higher. Now, what does that mean? Think about it this way. An A is a 4.0, a B is a 3.0, a C is a 2.0. So roughly we're saying a C+. You need a C+ or higher in the 6 hours or 2 classes, which are Gen Ed transfer courses, or what they call universal transfer courses. And if you have that, we're going to be able to put you directly into English 111. If you don't, we would have to give you a co-requisite that goes with it called English 011, and it's a helper course to give you the resources to help you improve in that subject area. Same thing for math. To get you into your higher level math courses, we have to have you make a B or higher in your Math 3 high school course. Once you do that, we can put you Math 110, Math 152, 171, 172 into statistics, into pre-cal, and into trigonometry at the college level. So the other two bullets are just explaining what we can do if you haven't met that threshold. But for you to move forward, you've got to kind of be taking care of business right from the beginning. So for this slide, I'll hit this a little bit. I know Mr. Durham will too, but I'll just make this point here to start out with, is that your diploma from high school is 28 credits no matter what high school you're going to. If you're going to West, South, North, or here, it's 28 credits. That is the local requirements for Stokes County. You can see what the requirements are there. And what I'm going to help your student do is that last bullet there. The electives are going to end up being the college courses, some of which I just described to you.
Yeah, I want to stress a little bit more on this. This is one of the big differences from our school and the traditional school. The required classes are the same, 4 English, 4 math, 4 social studies, 3 science. The rigor part comes in where all of our classes are honors level. We're at North, West, or whatever you decide to go, wherever most of you guys will be at West, you do have a standard level and an honors level. At our school, all of them are honors level. The health and PE, the difference at our school, at West, you would take 1 health and PE class taught by a high school teacher. We don't have a PE teacher. So what we do is we work with Forsyth Tech, and they teach our PE for us. And that PE, where you will dual credit, you're a dual student, you get college credit for your PE that will go towards your degree, and those count to give you your high school credit for graduation purposes. Now, because the curriculum is different and the standards course of study is different, you have to take 2 PE classes at the college level to equate to the 1 PE credit for high school. And then those 12 electives, that's really the biggest difference. We don't have the electives like the other high schools have. You can't take 4 years of PE. You can't take carpentry or whatever like at the other high schools. So those electives have to be fulfilled by college classes, whether that's the academic classes going toward that college transfer degree, or some of that plus maybe some of the trades classes, which we'll be talking to you about.
But here's another good part to remember from the student perspective and parent perspective, is because those electives are coming from college courses, where if you earned an A in a high school course, you would get a 4.0, as we discussed a while ago. If you earn an A in a college course, it's a 5.0 averaged in with your GPA. A C would be a 2.0, but for us, a C in a college course would translate to a 3.0. It would be the same as a B in a high school course. So because they are more rigorous, you're getting more quality points that will help your high school GPA as you're going along.
Again, our first priority is to get you to graduate from high school. That's the main goal. I think Mr. Sands had already said that, because we're a high school first and foremost. The sweet thing is you can earn up to a 2-year degree. The first 4 years is when you have to be done with your high school requirements, the required classes within that first 4 years. And then how you decide to spread out your college classes, whether you want to condense them all or spread them out a little bit, and we'll show you that in the sample schedule in a little bit, will determine whether you decide to go that 5th year or not. So again, we already talked about the degrees. So here's, you can get those those associate degrees, the arts or the science or the applied science, or you can choose to, work on that diploma or certificate And I won't go over that anymore. Mr. Sage, you want to take this? You want me to take this?
Sure, I'll get it.
Okay.
And this is what we were talking about with the hours. So if you're looking at the hours over on the right-hand side of this chart and what you just saw on the slide before this, the main thing to take away is that no matter if you're going for a 40-hour diploma or a 60-hour associate's degree or an 18-hour certificate, everybody's schedule the first 2 years is pretty much going to look the same. So you can see 3 high school courses and 2 college courses, both terms during your freshman year. Same thing, 10th grade year, 3 high school, 2 college in the red. Then when you get to your 11th grade, it's going to flip-flop and you're going to have only 1 or 2 high school courses, and potentially, maybe if you finish them, you might have all college courses. You have 3 or 4, even sometimes 5 college courses during a semester, and maybe carrying as many as 15 hours to get yourself to that 60 target if you were doing an associate in arts like it's being displayed here. The next slide is going to show you the exact same thing, except as you can see, it's for a trades diploma. And this is pretty much assuming you're headed very close to an associate's, let's say in welding. So again, first 2 years look exactly the same as somebody in associate in arts as your 9th grade and 10th grade year, heavy on the high school, light on the college. And then 11th and 12th grade year, you start getting into all the welding courses. You're getting into the meat of that diploma program and taking more college courses, less high school courses.
And let me chime in on that. As Mr. Sands said, the first 2 years are pretty much the same. We have to get those PE in because they're going to count for your high school PE credit. We're starting everyone on that Associate of Arts, just kind of get a feel for what the school is like and that kind of thing. This is where our philosophy is changed, and everyone's kind of on board with this at our school, and for SciTech, they like how we're going as well. Between that, if you come to our school, you commit to stay for that first year, you enjoy it, you're going to return that second year. But during that second year is when you kind of have to decide, okay, what do I want to do from here? Do I want to continue on? So between that 10th and 11th grade year, you sort of don't have to be definite, but you have to have a pretty good idea. Do I want to continue on that college 4-year transfer path, or do I want to kind of work toward that applied science, or do I just kind of want to work on a diploma or certificate? And that's where Dr. Cox Franklin and Mr. Sands will come into play. And as you meet with them, that's when the different classes can change. And it really opens up that 11th grade year, especially if you have transportation, because again, you're a Forsyth Tech student. And like Mr. Sands said earlier, all of the campuses will be open for you. So, but also what I wanted to stress is that 4th year and 5th year. You see here between the 11th and 12th grade, it says summer. Some students choose to do summer classes. Now, we don't say you have to do summer classes, but if you choose to do summer classes, they choose to do it, but they pay the fees, and they pay for the books for their own if we don't have the books. So that's the only time you would have to pay if you choose to do a summer class. But why do they do that? Well, they do that to lighten the load in this junior year a little bit, or especially to lighten the load in that senior year. And they want to finish in 4 years as opposed to pushing classes out to that 5th year. But if you don't want to take summer classes, you don't mind coming back for that 5th year to finish these college classes. So most of that 5th year is going to be college classes. In fact, that 5th year is going to be all college classes because you have to be finished with your high school piece by that 4th year. So again, you can see if you move some of these to that 5th year, it does lighten the load up, and that's why some students choose to do that. Now, some choose to graduate after 4. They're not quite finished with their associate's degree, and just like Mr. Sands said earlier, the more college classes you have, it's all going to transfer. So if you don't quite have that degree, that's okay. But some choose to say, well, I'm going to stick around that 5th year and take, take those, finish up my degree. You want to take that, Mr. Sands?
Sure. Mr. Durham hit this earlier, and of course, since this is the parent meeting, this is the part everybody gets the most excited about, is if you look at Forsyth Tech and you were going to attend Forsyth Tech on your own, whether you were getting financial aid, you were taking loans, or you're paying for it out of pocket, for the most part, you could expect to pay a little over $13,000 for average college tuition for those 2 years. Same thing if you did Rockingham, same thing if you did Surrey. But if you come to the bottom of that list, and you go ahead and take a look at that in blue, Stokes Early College is the fee that they're going to charge is $52.50 a year. And that essentially is allowing you the opportunity to get either that diploma, certificate, or up to that 2 years associate degree, the first 2 years of college. Then if you look at the comparisons for that, Chapel Hill, State, UNCG, Winston-Salem State, East Carolina, Appalachian, ranging anywhere from $35,000 to $50,000 for the same 2 years. And then, of course, if you're going to a private institution like Duke or Wake, that explodes exponentially. So, we really can't, of course, we're all excited about it, but we know why parents are getting excited about it too, because it does give you a chance to earn the 2-year degree and know that every single credit is going to transfer to any of the 16 UNC system schools in the state, should you choose to go on to a 4-year institution.
But a caveat to that, the key was, he said, the 16 universities in our university system, the state university system. There are some private schools that will accept, some smaller private schools that will accept the degrees as well. But, the Dukes and Wakes of the world, they're not taking it. So, if you are a Duke and Wake bound student, we're probably not the place for you, because none of this is going to transfer to those universities because they want their money.
And the thing is, just like Mr. Durham said, sometimes you end up with an institution that says, no, we won't take Bio 111 and Bio 112 course for course, but we'll let you combine those two for one of ours. If you end up going to a Liberty or a Wingate or a smaller private institution, because they are certainly more. They're certainly trying to attract students much more than Wake or Duke are. And this is what Mr. Durham was talking about earlier with the senior seminar. We're able to work with your student during their senior year, both semesters really, helping them fill out the FAFSA, helping them with financial aid, helping them fill out applications, write essays, get references. And what does that translate to? It translates to them having, at least 2 days every month that they're working on nothing but applications, financial aid, paperwork, and scholarships. So what you're seeing right there has basically been anywhere between probably 46 and 38 students receiving that many millions of dollars per year. Like Mr. Durham said, it ebbs and flows in terms of our numbers of graduates that are going on to 4-year institutions every year. But what you're seeing there, those numbers are probably anywhere between about 45 and 38 students receiving 2 million plus every year for the past 4 years. And as Mr. Durham said, lots of opportunities for clubs. You see the young lady there in the bottom and the gentleman beside of him with the guitar. Those are both from our performing arts showcases. We usually do one per semester, and the intramural sports you see as well. Lots of opportunities. If you can find someone to sponsor your club, we will entertain any and all extracurricular activities you may be interested in.
And we have prom, we have graduation, smaller scale, smaller classes, that kind of thing. But we lots of things for students to participate in. And something we don't stress a lot on, they can participate in things at the college level too. Maybe not as much, but because we don't have a lot of activities on campus, but we have had students to get involved with the Student Government Association at Forsyth Tech. One received a Volunteer of the Year award for as a Forsyth Tech student. I spoke to him yesterday. He's a current senior, and he's saying, "Well, I'm volunteering at the student government office, answering phones or whatever, for a couple of hours, today or whatever." Because we haven't really stressed this much, but as you become a junior and or senior, you won't have classes all day every day. You're just like a college student, and so they don't have classes all day every day, just like college students don't. All right, some things to consider. We're almost wrapping up here. If you choose to apply and you're accepted, we would hope that you would commit to at least one full year with us to see how it is. You see that administratively transferred. Well, in the past, we've had students who just bombed, just really struggled, really wasn't a fit for them, and they have kind of been pushed, pretty much told, you got to go back to your home school. Especially this year, I haven't done that. I've just had serious conversations with those families, and I say, you're welcome to stay, but your effort has to change. And if it doesn't change, then you're really going to put yourself in a hole at the end of the school year. So, some did choose to go back, and that was their own choice. It wasn't me pushing them away. So that's one thing we want to try to avoid happening, our students having to go back to West or South or North. Again, it is a 4-year program, but it could be a 5-year program, depending on how you want to do your college course load. And again, I can't stress enough that you would want to be there and that you're willing to put forth the effort to make it through. And most of our students that are there, that's what they're doing, and they're focused, and they're there they want to be there, and that's why they typically get along for the most part. We talked about intramural sports, playing against other early colleges. Something that happened about a little over a year ago for the first time, and this is going to go to Ms. Daub's question, is the school board in December of 2019 approved for our students to participate in athletics and certain other activities at their home school of residence. That is something that's still new to us because the first opportunity that students were able to participate in sports was last winter. Well, I wasn't there last winter, and I know they had a student or two to participate at some schools. And then last spring, we had some students to try out for some things. And of course, then COVID hit, spring sports were canceled. But this year, I am a little bit familiar. Of course, sports is crazy anyway with everything, just like everything else. But we have had some students to participate. We've had one young lady who ran cross country at West, who made all conference for West Oaks for their cross country. We had another young lady who was on the swim team at West and broke one of the school records for, I think it was the breaststroke, I think. Unfortunately, her season was cut short due to injury, but she did well early in the season. We had one student to play volleyball at North. I think we had one to do cheerleading, or is planning to do cheerleading. I know a couple that were planning to try out for soccer at West. Maybe one's planning to try out for tennis at West. So, it's something you can do. Of course, you have to try out for the team. You have to be academically eligible and all that good stuff, just like you're a student there. But I'll be honest with you. Yes, that's a good thing. And we have had some students to participate. But, depending on the sport, depending on how many try out, unfortunately, you have a strike against you to start off with because you're not a student at that school. But, if it's really competitive and you're just an average player, what are the odds of you making it? I don't know, depending on the coach and that kind of thing. If you're an outstanding player, I'd say the odds are good. If it's a sport where they don't have a lot to try out, like a cross country, or maybe there's no limit on how many they can have and that kind of thing. Those kinds of sports you might have more, opportunity. But again, that is something still new to us. Students, a lot of them, if they choose to ride the bus, they might get back to practice late. So it may be that they have to get a ride or whatever to get back to practice on time. But then again, that's something we're still kind of working through. ROTC, our students, just like if you go to West, you can take ROTC at South Stokes. Our students can take ROTC at South Stokes. Those will probably be more of their junior or senior year when they have the ability to drive over there. We have had students to go to South Stokes to take the CNA nursing program that chose to do that. Somebody asked about band today. I'm really not sure about band. I would think if they have after school things, and you have been in band before, they might would allow you to do some of the after school stuff. Or if band is fourth period, I'm not 100% sure about band, if that was included in that deal or not. But that's some opportunities, at least for ROTC and athletics. Let's see here. All right, some frequently asked questions that we get. Like I just said a couple minutes ago, we do provide transportation. We have students from all across the county, north, south, and west. So we do have buses that do pick up students, bring them to school. A lot of our students will ride the bus all the way up until they can get their license, some even longer to save on gas. But that is provided to and from school. Our classes, we're on a block schedule, just like the other high schools. Pretty much our blocks are 90 minutes. So students will take 4, depending on how many college classes, but they'll take 4 blocks and how many classes fit in there. 4 blocks in the fall, and then they have 4 blocks in the spring. Our school day is 8:15 to 3:05. Our calendar is different. We have a separate calendar than the regular school system because we kind of follow that Forsyth Tech calendar somewhat because of their breaks and those kinds of things, and to be in line with college classes. So we start a little bit earlier in August, but we get out a little bit earlier in May. And our spring break is typically 99% of the time, in fact, probably 100% of the time, it's separate than the regular school system spring break because we do ours in conjunction with Forsyth Tech. But we do get a little mini fall break where the other schools do not. Our lunch period, everybody has lunch together. None of this 5 lunch times. We're so small, we have lunch together, 30 minutes. I forgot to mention in that picture earlier, we do have an outside picnic area with picnic tables that a lot of our students will eat at, even in the wintertime, and we're sitting out there today. We do have a cafeteria. In fact, I think that's where Mr. Sands was when I saw the picture in the background earlier. But we don't have a kitchen. Like I said earlier, we do not have a kitchen. So students make their order in the morning what they want for lunch. And then at least currently, Southeastern brings that over and serves that out of our cafeteria. Driver's ed, of course, students want to get their driver's license. A lot of students want to get their driver's license once they're 14 and a half years old. Right now, we don't offer the class on our campus. We just don't have the numbers. So they can go to any of the 3 high schools to take driver's ed. A lot of students will take it in the summer. Some will take it after school, and a bus will take them to West to drop them off or wherever they go to take the class. So driver's ed is an opportunity. When they get to the driving part, sometimes the instructor will drive to us and pick them up. Sometimes I have seen that a time or two. Okay, well, these are our recruitment sessions. Of course, this is our last one. So we thank you for joining us tonight. How to apply. I'm going to leave this screen right now and go to our website because that really has all of the information and kind of give you a walkthrough. When you go to our website, you should see a pop-up that says admission information for 21-22. If you don't see that, you can still scroll down to the middle of the page. You'll see news and announcements right there. And then a scrolling thing, you can just scroll to admission information for 21-22. This has everything that you need to know for our admissions process. All right, so at the top of the page, this red link here is to the online application, and I'm going to go to that in just a minute. As you scroll down, you'll see the information session. That's how you got to this tonight, hopefully. This is our last middle school information session. We will have one tomorrow just for the general public. If there's any outside of county folks that might want to watch, or any homeschool students that might want to join, that's there. Our virtual open house. Unfortunately, we're not going to be able to have an open house like we typically have, where we are open in an evening and people can come and walk around and those kinds of things. But we have created a virtual open house. And so if you just click on that, it's going to pop up at a different page. And you can see, eventually it'll pop up. A couple of videos there with student comments, former students and what they're doing now. That's in some of the videos. You've got a tour that I threw together, a virtual tour of our campus that you'll be able to watch video of outside of our campus, inside of every building, and those kinds of things. So that's there. Each faculty member did a little clip. Mine was a little bit longer than it probably needed to be, but I talk a little bit there, some things you've heard tonight, but in a lot of our instructors or teachers have put together a little clip on what the school means to them. So that is on our virtual open house. This video will be posted there eventually as well. All right, going back to that admissions page. A student panel. Typically, we would have a day where Chestnut Grove would drive over with the counselors and spend a good portion of the day with us visiting classes and that kind of thing. Unfortunately, we can't do that this year. We thought about doing an opportunity for students to visit the classes virtually, but that's not going to give a good picture of what it's really like. So what we decided to do instead is to do a student panel where your student can spend 45 minutes with some of our current students, some of our juniors who are what we call Sherpas. They're like our ambassadors, and ask students questions from the student perspective. What is student life like on a typical year, and those kinds of things. Right now, I'm meeting with Ms. Hauser and Ms. Holland tomorrow. We're going over those details. Right now, I am thinking your student panel date will be February 17th for Chestnut Grove. It will be during the lunchtime. So if it's during your lunchtime, hopefully there's a place you can take your lunch. If you're at school, take your lunch and eat in a room and join us and ask student questions. Speaking of asking students questions, there's a link to a survey that if you have some questions specifically for students, go ahead, go there and type in those questions to give those students a heads up on what you may be wanting to know. Of course, if you don't think about anything until you actually join and you think of something, then you can ask as well. Let's see. All right. The deadline, you have 3 more weeks to apply. Again, a lot of you have already done that. So you will apply by February 26th. Once we get the applications, get the teacher recommendations, your counselors will give us all of the your grades and attendance and all that good stuff. They'll send that to us. In March, we'll send out information about interviews. We want to get to know you, to get to talk to you, and we'll do that virtually. And we'll set that up, arrange that with your counselors and set that up for you guys to meet with us to get to know you a little bit better. And the goal is to have acceptance letters mailed out the first week of April. Again, we're hoping around 50. If we, get 50 applicants, we feel that will, be a good fit for us. And then once you get those acceptance letters, we ask you to let us know by April 23rd whether you choose to go to us or whether you change your mind, you don't want to. Now, another question that gets asked, well, what about West Oaks registration? And Ms. Hauser can correct me if I'm wrong. I think you do that. You go ahead and do West Oaks as well, just like you would be going there. just in case. And then if you decide to go with us, then just all that stuff that went to West just goes away. If you decide that you don't want to come to us, then you've already turned your stuff into West Stokes. So I think that's the case, right, Ms. Hauser?
That is correct, Mr. Durham. The West Stokes and South Stokes counselors would like us to do that. And in fact, I take it a step further, and I will write at the top of their high school course selection pages, I will write that they are applying to early college. And then I will also, once students have been accepted, I will share those Google Docs with South Stokes and West Stokes so that they know who all is going to South from the West, and West will know, West and South will also know which ones are actually going to early college.
Okay. Well, thank you. At the bottom of the page, you see we have a copy of our brochure and then a copy of this presentation, that you can take a look at. All right. Last thing I'm going to do, then I'll have, if you have any questions, is I'm going to the application. All right. So the application gets pulled up. It is a Google form. It gives information about our school. So you're going to read that at the top. I encourage you to read all of that stuff. A lot of the stuff we've already talked about tonight. The instructions, definitely read the instructions. It tells you what you need to have for your application. Contacts for us if you want to reach out to us. And then there's the application and instructions. Now, what I encourage you to do is read through the whole application. Read through and see what you need to fill out. Most of it's like your parents' name, emails, and that kind of stuff. So make sure you have that information. It may be good to print it out, handwrite it out, so when you type it in, you're ready to go. But the one thing I want to point out, there are some 2 short answer essay kinds of things. And I'm going to scroll down to that. There it is. What problems have you had in your school? That kind of thing. And then, do you feel that you're a mature candidate? I suggest you type your answer in a Word document, proofread it, spell check, that kind of thing. Then copy and paste it into this form when you're ready to complete it. And when you're ready to complete it, then you complete all this in one sitting, and then it'll be pretty easy. Now, you have to have 3 letters of recommendation, 2 from teachers, core teachers, math, English, social studies, science. So 2 of those teachers will be your teacher recommenders. Your third person is a community representative, not a relative. Now, if you don't have, maybe you're new to the area or really don't know anyone in the public, you can choose another staff member if that's what you need to do. If the person you know, you might want to ask them, would you mind doing this? Hopefully, if they have an email, put their email in there. So we will email them directly the link to the online recommendation form. Now, if it's someone who you really want to do your form and they don't have internet, they don't have email, the counselors, your middle school counselors, they do have a paper form that they can print off for you to give to you for them to fill out. But most of them so far have been able to do the online recommendation form. Again, some demographic information for our state reports and that kind of thing. And then a long agreement kind of thing that you and your parent need to read through before you sign. And you're signing by typing in both your full name and your parent's full name. Don't type your parent's name without them knowing what you're typing, because they want to know what you're saying you're agreeing to. But let me go up to the top. Because if you, let's say you start doing this and you get called away, you got to go do something. There is a way to save it, but it is a Google form and it's not the easiest. That's why I encourage you to try to do it in one sitting. But I'm going to do a sample. All right, I'm just going to do student name, Freddie Falcon. We are the Falcons. And I'm going to name him Freddie. I don't know if that's really his name, but that's what we're going to say. And I'm going to assume that maybe I just got my name typed in and I got called away to do something, but I'm too lazy. I don't want to type my name again. Well, after you get whatever you got done, if you scroll to the bottom and you hit submit. Now, when you hit submit, it's coming to us. Don't do anything yet. When you see this screen here, it says edit your response or submit another response. Do not close it out. If you close it out, you lose it. Go ahead and hit edit your response before you close it out. It's going to pop up again, and it's going to say you're in editing your response mode. Either copy that URL up here in the top, or you can bookmark this tab, and you can save it. Bookmark this tab, and again, you can see we're in that editing mode, and you can see Freddie Falcon's name right there. Still Freddie Falcon. All right. You close it out. You're leaving it. 2 days later, oh, I forgot to put something in. Well, come back to our, go back to your screen. Go to that saved, that bookmark tab that you had already done. And it should pop up with where you left off. And there you should see when it pops up. It's slow. There you should see Freddie Falcon. So that's how you can save it and come back to it. Once you submit it, for those of you who've already done it, I'm pretty responsive. You'll get an email from me saying, yep, got your application. It looks like it's complete. If there's something wrong, I'll let you know. Then we will send the link to your teachers as far as the recommendation forms and that kind of thing. And I'm trying to keep your counselors in the loop as well, so they kind of keep an idea on who's applying. All right, that is all that I have. That was a lot of information. I'm going to look in here. What does the student do when like you said, they don't have a class for a period? Okay. Good question, Destiny. If a student, most of the 9th and 10th graders, they're going to have classes every period. If a student is a junior or senior, and let's say they don't have a class, some college classes, you will pair them together. So like Mondays and Tuesdays, or Mondays and Wednesdays, you might have psychology. Tuesdays and Thursdays, during the same time, you might have history. Let's say you only have psychology and you don't have a Tuesday, Thursday class. So Monday, Wednesday, you would go to psychology. Tuesday, Thursday, you have a study period. Well, depending on what time of day it is, if it's first thing in the morning, you can get permission from your parents. And if you drive, you don't have to come in until second period. If it's fourth period, if you get permission from your parents and you drive, you can leave early and go home. If it's in the middle of the day, that's a little bit harder. Some students, if they get permission to leave, they might go down and get a lunch somewhere on those days and come back to campus for the next class. Some students choose to go to the Forsyth Tech building, work in the computer lab on other classes, hang out in the student lounge they have up there, and that kind of thing. So some opportunities, especially as juniors and seniors, that if you have study time, I'm not going to say free time, but study time, to use that time wisely and that kind of thing. So good question, Destiny. This year, what we're doing with COVID, we're limited on what we can and can't do, but some students do leave, some students do come back and that kind of thing. But if you remain on campus, they have to go to the college lab and work in the computer lab if they're bus riders. Good question. Any other questions? Let's see. When we have breaks, then is it possible to do the summer college courses? I'm not quite sure what you're asking there. The summer college courses are not required, and they only have a break every once in a while. Depending on what classes they want to take, how many they want to take. But most of the ones that have a break are those seniors who maybe they did take summer classes, to make it easier so they don't have as many classes their senior year, and that kind of thing. So I don't know if that answers your question. Okay. Anything else? All right. Again, thank you for coming out this evening. I'm going to go ahead and stop recording this in case some of you